You know, there's that great African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. And today's session is all about the team regroup, because there is absolutely nothing like going far, but actually doing it in a truly collaborative way and having your team alongside you so that you can all lift each other. You can continue to create those connections that you worked so hard to achieve. You can keep the momentum going and you can keep building on that excitement so that you can really ignite the passion for yourself and, most importantly, for your team to see those goals through to success.
And one of the best ways to regroup and bring everybody together is a team day. And it's something Sarah and I am very, very passionate about, as you can probably see. And with team days, you know, and bringing people together, so often people take these for granted and they just think, oh, we don't really need team days. We've got too much work to do. Our challenge to you is, if you don't invest in spending time bringing your team together, talking about them, their team, the business goals, and how they're, you know, looking at what sort of game plan, what they need to do, what others need to do within their team, so that they've got clarity, direction, and belonging, then that work isn't going to be done as efficiently, as quickly, and to the quality standard. And guess what? Your culture is going to be diminished and affected by that as well. So a team day isn't just about the fluffy stuff. The team day actually sets those beautiful, solid foundations from which both you and your business and your team can then leverage for an amazing results. So what I'm going to share with you quickly now is just a little bit of a framework of how do you actually pull a team day together on a low budget. So the first thing to do is actually be very clear on what is the outcome of your day. Get your outcomes locked down and actually be really specific to that wording so that you can actually picture that outcome. And so it becomes very, very tangible. Look at the purpose of the day. Why have you brought people together? And also the audience. Now with the audience, and you go, well, it's my team, we'll actually look at them as individuals and think, what sort of environment would enable them to thrive in this team day? And how could we actually just put them in an environment that isn't the norm, that helps them stretch a little bit more? So location is really, really important to lock that down. Think creatively. They don't have to be massively expensive places. Sometimes the best offsites could be sitting on someone's deck at their batch, or, you know, in a home, or, you know, at a different location in your workplace. The next one that I really encourage you to do is look at the resources you can use. Making sure that you've built in practical activities that involve a lot of brainstorming, and initially look at things in pairs, individually, small groups, and then coming back and presenting. Your resources can be things such as, you know, flip charts and blue tacks and all the given, but it also are your icebreaker activities. So they could be short, quick games just to get people started at the beginning of the day and in the afternoon after lunch. And what I'd always recommend with these icebreakers is bring them on topic. So at different times of the year, you can actually bring in some festivities into a team building event that actually then helps people come together and also looks at communication, teamwork, and all those sorts of things. So when we're looking at putting a team day and you've got the design, the location, you're clear on that, the last thing to think about is, what is the pre-work? What could be some things that we could actually get them to do ahead of time to get them thinking? So there it is, a team day in a nutshell, just a very high level overview, but hopefully it's giving you something that you can just take and build from.
And when we're rolling out these team days, we need to be mindful about what our leadership style is looking like as we're working through all of the different components of the day. And you might be somebody who's quite naturally collaborative, which is fantastic, but you also might be somebody that struggles with this, or perhaps you haven't actually tried. And so when we think about Daniel Goleman, and I know it's a favorite of Kirsten's as well, you know, we look at the leadership style, and the coaching leader is one that's really connecting people to the goals and to the organization goals. So having that framework that Kirsten's talked about and having the purpose and the actual what needs to be achieved in the day is absolutely critical when we're looking at that collaboration piece and making sure that we're actually coaching people through the day. And we're also making sure that while we're working through that, we're encouraging people and we're bringing them along, we're being empathetic, and we're really guiding the conversation and steering it so that we're achieving that purpose at the end of the day. The other thing we do need to be mindful of is we've got people in our teams that are at different stages of their experience in your business. So we've got somebody that might be brand new that's joined in on your team day, or you might have some people that have been in your teams for years and years. So actually understanding whether you need to be coaching, where you're guiding a conversation, or being a bit more directive so that somebody has some structure so that those outcomes can still be achieved, is just something to be mindful of, and actually tapping in and changing how coaching based and directive based on that continuum we are at different times of the day, particularly when we're seeing our team members perhaps struggling with a task. They might just need that little bit more direction before you step back into more of that coaching piece. So one thing to make sure that you're very clear about is that you have real control over the day. And we're not talking command and control, but actually you're steering and making sure that the outcome of the day is always on track, and that you are shifting between that directive and that coaching leadership style, so that everybody feels like they're part of that process, but most importantly, those outcomes are going to be achieved for you and your team on that day.
And you probably guess what our challenge for this episode is going to be. The first one is, let's start planning, a team away day or a session around your team, and get that started. And then layer on that what Sarah's just mentioned around your coaching style, around your leadership style on the day leading up to it, and follow through afterwards. And just making sure that when you put those two tips together, we've given you some really robust insights that you can now pick up, move, and actually transform your team away days. Enjoy. We'll see you next week for episode 4.